this is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 20 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Momentarily, we'll hear our United Launch Alliance test conductor, Ward Johansson, polling the United Launch Alliance team.
Ward, predicted local area temperature range at liftoff.
The CRC record 52 to 57 degrees.
52 to 57.
OSM, report when roadblock is established and flight hazard area is secured.
Roger, roadblock is established and flight hazard and caution area are secured.
Roger.
HYE, report hydraulics accumulator GN2 pressure go.
Go.
Prop 1, report engine section temp.
7-2.
7-2.
Report lube line temp.
7-3.
7-3.
USO, report go for cryogenic tanking.
Go.
Launch director, report go for cryogenic tanking.
This is LD. We are go for cryogenic tanking.
Roger. ATC-1, begin preparations for first stage LOX loading.
Roger.
FAC, initiate booster, engine section, high-speed fan, and report when heat is on.
Roger.
Prop 2, verify vehicle actuation. Pre-press press is open.
Open.
Prop 1, monitor engine reg pressure during LOX loading. Roger. Prop 2, verify PSD purge system as follows. PSD purge press open.
Open.
Verify PSD purge pressure is 400 plus or minus 25 PSIG.
Verified.
PSD purge press closed.
Closed.
Line vent open.
Open.
Verify PSD purge pressure vented.
Verified.
Line vent closed.
Closed.
Prop 2, verify the following LOX valve positions. Storage tank press closed.
Closed.
Storage tank vent open.
Open.
Fine load closed.
Closed.
Rapid load closed.
Closed.
Debris open.
Open.
Vehicle fill and drain closed.
Closed.
Dump closed.
Closed.
Umbilical purge closed.
Closed.
DLC for an update. We're complete with all steps through page 003-82. Working no issues.
ATC, you have heat in the boat tail?
Roger, thank you.
minus 75 minutes.
ATC-1, begin LOX loading.
Roger. We'll observe the following note. And Prop 1, vehicle LOX tank vent open. Open. Timer, time LOX flow from fine load valve open to 100% LOX.
Roger.
And announce time at 1 minute intervals.
Roger.
We'll observe the two cautions and the note. Top of page 85, Prop 2, vehicle LOX fill and drain open.
Open.
Prop 2, LOX debris open.
Open.
LOX storage tank vent closed.
Closed.
LOX storage tank press open, and when storage tank pressure increases to 50 plus or minus 5, LOX fine load open.
Roger. LOX fine load open. 2, 1, mark.
LOX rapid load open.
Open.
Timer report time when fine load was open.
08-12-38.
08-12-38.
Prop 1, engine heaters on. On. Prop 1, enable LOX relief valve plenum heater only if plenum pressure approaches 7.4. Roger. PEA, monitor and observe FABU heater cycles.
Roger.
Observe the caution. Prop 1, FABU heater on. On. Prop 2, LOX load timer enable to on.
On.
Prop 1, monitor vehicle LOX tank pressure. Roger. Prop 1, monitor vehicle LOX tank vent, LOX start tank vent, and VE bleed ports for GOX.
1 minute LOX flow.
Roger. Prop 2, report actuation of low-level float switch.
Roger.
And report LOX pump inlet temp decreasing.
Decreasing.
Prop 1, verify LOX pump inlet temp functions in cryogenic temperatures.
A low-level float switch is actuated. And temp looks good.
Copy. LC, position TV camera to monitor the LOX transfer system during LOX transfer operations.
Roger, I think we have them set up the way you like. If you need any adjustments, let us know.
Copy that, LC, and yeah, the scanning of the transfer line looks good.
Three minutes LOX flow. 4 minutes, LOX flow.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 9 minutes and counting. Our LOX loading activities, liquid oxygen, now being loaded aboard the Delta first stage. All of our activities progressing on schedule. And we're joined now here at the Launch Control Center by Tim Dunn, who is our NASA launch manager for the countdown this morning. And we wanted to ask Tim to come over and just kind of recap for us a little bit the activities that have been going on since our scrub yesterday, some of the turnaround activities that we've done to get back into a launch posture for tonight. So, Tim, if you could kind of lead us through, since we left you yesterday when we last talked, what things we've done to analyze our position and then pick up for tonight.
Thank you, George. So yesterday we obviously were sitting here discussing the results of our called, hold, and scrub within the last minute. So that was an unfortunate event, and the team has done a tremendous amount of work in the past day to get us back into another countdown, executing a 24-hour recycle. So what we were able to do was ULA and LSP engineering teams were able to go back out onto the pad once we had things safed, and we found that our reason for our hold was a faulty water valve at Slick 2, and it was unfortunate. It's a system, a water system that provides the pulse suppression water. It dampens out any acoustic energy from the ignition event to protect both the pad and the launch vehicle as it leaves the pad. So obviously we can't launch without that system, but we were able to isolate it to a faulty valve, and we had exercised that valve. Recently we had done a full functional on it just about a month ago. We had done a functional on that valve itself just the day before launch. So we felt very confident going into countdown. But
so it's one of those things where one of our former shuttle launch directors used to say that the hardware just chose this particular time to go faulty on us.
Yes,
right.
Unfortunate, but the teams really responded and reacted well. This morning, now would be yesterday morning. We're already into Wednesday now on the California coast. So we after we did that, we obviously want to check that system prior to committing to another launch count down, and we did a full functional water flow multiple times yesterday afternoon at Slick 2, verified the full operation of that system. We were able to then fully commit to this countdown that we're now in the middle of. So just to give you an update, obviously you've told the folks that we're in the middle of LOX loading. We've also received weather briefing from the range. We have beautiful weather for launch, a little bit of ground fog, so there's going to be some limited visibility at ground level, but we should see the vehicle once it clears the low-level marine layer of fog. And so we are not violating any weather constraints. For collision avoidance, for our COLA reports, we had a clean COLA run, so our entire 30-second window is available to us, and we're going to target the first second of that window like we did in yesterday's attempt. So right now we've got a great range, no range instrumentation issues that we're tracking. Spacecraft is healthy, ready to go. The launch vehicle is performing magnificently, and so we are in great shape for today's attempt.
All right, Tim. Well, thank you very much, and I guess we'll be talking again after we have spacecraft separation, and we'll hear how the flight actually went. But it's good to know that we are back in position and ready to fly tonight. So thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And we're going to look now at a video of what it's taken to get the Delta II and the OCO-2 spacecraft ready for launch.
Here at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, NASA is preparing to launch a spacecraft to study the Earth's atmosphere and better understand how climate change affects everyone on the planet. The Orbiting Carbon Observatory, or OCO-2, will be NASA's first dedicated Earth remote sensing satellite to collect space-based global measurements of atmospheric carbon dioxide. It will have the precision, resolution, and coverage needed to better understand the environment on a global basis. The mission to study the atmosphere began to take shape in an Orbital Sciences Corporation facility in Gilbert, Arizona. The company built, integrated, and tested the OCO-2 spacecraft under a contract from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. After a 560-mile trip from Orbital's facility in Arizona, the satellite arrived at Vandenberg on April 30th. It then was transported to the Astrotech Payload Processing Facility. Inside the clean room, technicians and engineers began uncrating the OCO-2 spacecraft. The 985-pound satellite then was placed on a test fixture to begin weeks of intense pre-launch checkouts to ensure all of its complex systems are working properly. During December of last year, a convoy of trucks began delivering the solid rocket motors to Vandenberg for the United Launch Alliance Delta II rocket that will boost the satellite to orbit. In late March, the Delta's first stage booster arrived at NASA Hangar 836. On March 28th, the Delta II first stage booster was transported to Space Launch Complex 2 and raised to the vertical position and hoisted into the mobile service tower. 2 weeks later, the 3 solid rocket motors were attached to the first stage of the booster. The Delta II second stage then was towed to the base of the mobile service tower at Space Launch Complex 2 on April 15th. The instruments and systems on OCO-2 were thoroughly tested at Astrotech's Vandenberg facility, including the all-important solar arrays. While orbiting the Earth, the arrays will capture the sun's energy and generate 813 watts of power for the spacecraft systems. With a primary structure consisting of a 7-foot-long hexagonal column that is 3 feet wide, OCO-2 is about the size of an office desk. Once final checks were complete at the Vandenberg Astrotech facility, the satellite was enclosed in its transportation canister and prepared for the trip to the launch pad to meet up with the Delta II vehicle. By mid-June, OCO-2 was ready to be placed atop the Delta rocket to begin final preparations for liftoff and its 24-month mission. Once in orbit, OCO-2 will study carbon dioxide levels of the Earth's atmosphere from an orbit 438 miles in space, providing scientists with a better idea of carbon dioxide's impact on global climate change.
And we have Gux at the start tank vent.
Minutes, LOX flow.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour and counting. After we have liftoff this morning, we're hoping that from one of the optical trackers on Santa Ynez Mountain down towards Santa Barbara that we may see the Delta II rocket coming up through the fog here at Vandenberg. And we'll be following with that same tracker the Delta II as it heads downrange. It'll be going almost directly down the Santa Barbara Channel on a launch azimuth of 196 degrees. And we'll continue south. There'll be some radar contact with it at Point Magoo, north of Los Angeles, a Navy station there. And on past Los Angeles, San Nicolas Island will be providing some telemetry data just below LA. And at that point, about 7 minutes into the flight, the TDRS West tracking and data relay satellite will pick up the vehicle and be supplying data until we get to the Heart of Easthoek tracking station in South Africa, which will be giving a status for the rocket's second stage restart and the spacecraft separation. That'll be at 49 minutes. And in addition to that, we will, after spacecraft separation, the Near-Earth Network Station at Fairbanks, Alaska will be giving us some spacecraft state of health from the 36-foot antenna located near Fairbanks. We're at T-minus 58 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. This is Delta Launch Control.
Minutes, LOX flow. Minutes, LOX flow. Minutes, LOX flow. 19 minutes LOX flow. Minutes LOX flow.
Prop 2, report 95% LOX float switch pickup upon occurrence.
Roger.
And at 95% LOX rapid load closed.
Roger.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 53 minutes, 3 seconds and counting. We're going to look now at a video that tells the story about the orbiting Carbon 2 observatory mission and what it hopes to accomplish, what it means to us, and about what Launch Services Program has done with the Delta II program to accomplish a launch tonight.
Carbon dioxide is a very, very important gas, and it's building up very rapidly in our atmosphere.
We're tipping towards warmer and warmer conditions. So buildup of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, a buildup of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is going to lead to a warmer world.
There's quite a lot of urgency to see what we can get from a satellite like OCO2.
Take a breath. As you exhale, you're releasing carbon dioxide into the air around you. On a small scale, you've just demonstrated a process that's repeated every moment around the world. Natural and man-made sources pour carbon dioxide into the atmosphere while plants and the oceans absorb it, and sometimes release a portion of it back into the air. This is the global carbon cycle. The Earth itself is breathing. NASA's Orbiting Carbon Observatory 2, or OCO2, is designed to study this process from a whole new perspective. OCO2 is based on the original Orbiting Carbon Observatory mission launched in February 2009. However, that mission ended before it even began, as a launch vehicle failure resulted in the loss of the satellite shortly after liftoff.
But by the time the sun rose the next morning, we had already started to formulate plans to restart the mission. That turned out being a very long process.
The restart became OCO2, which is nearly identical to the lost OCO satellite. The body of the spacecraft, called the bus, is a hexagon-shaped cylinder measuring about 3 by 6.5 feet. A pair of 10-foot-long solar array wings generate power for OCO2's systems. The satellite carries one very important instrument designed to peer down through the atmosphere and precisely measure the quantity of carbon dioxide it finds there. CO2 is a colorless, odorless gas that's formed when one carbon molecule binds to 2 oxygen molecules. It's a greenhouse gas, meaning it absorbs and then traps radiation that's reflected from the Earth's surface. The mission's scientific instrument features a trio of high-resolution spectrometers that will break this reflected light into its component colors.
So you can literally measure the brightness of the light in these colors that carbon dioxide absorbs and count the number of molecules throughout the atmospheric column from the top to the bottom.
Earth's plants and oceans absorb carbon dioxide and also emit it back into the atmosphere. This give and take is a natural process and has taken place as long as there's been life on the planet. But that balance began to shift with the dawn of the industrial age. That's when human activities began to pump more and more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, an increase of about 40%.
But the amazing thing is that half of that buildup has occurred since 1980. And 1/4 of that buildup has happened since 2001. So the rates of buildup of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, mainly from burning fossil fuels and other human activities, is growing faster and faster as time goes on.
From its vantage point in orbit, OCO2 will be able to track Earth's atmospheric carbon dioxide around the globe about twice a month through every season for at least 2 years. Although humans have been adding significant amounts of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere over the past 2 centuries, it also appears that the Earth's plants and oceans have been absorbing more than usual. Where this additional carbon dioxide is going is one of the big mysteries scientists hope to solve with OCO2. As the chlorophyll in plants absorbs sunlight and carbon dioxide to create carbohydrates through photosynthesis, they re-emit small fractions of this energy as fluorescence. The instrument on board OCO2 will be able to detect this chlorophyll fluorescence, allowing scientists to see where plants are actively growing and whether there's a response in atmospheric CO2.
And the two in combination, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and an indicator of how effective plants are in taking CO2 out of the atmosphere, it's just an impossibly brilliant combination from a science point of view.
OCO2 will circle Earth every 99 minutes. As it sweeps from south to north across the sunlit hemisphere, it will pass overhead around 1:30 in the afternoon local time.
After about a 16-day period, the Earth rotates under the satellite such that we're back on exactly the same ground track. We get an opportunity to map out the whole Earth a couple of times a month.
But first, OCO2 has to get into the right place in Earth orbit. The spacecraft will get its boost into orbit from a Delta II rocket, a reliable vehicle with a workhorse reputation. NASA's Launch Services Program ensures the spacecraft and rocket are ready to fly and manages the countdown and liftoff, working in tandem with rocket provider United Launch Alliance.
The NASA Launch Services Program team has been preparing for the OCO2 mission for almost 2 years now. This will be our first Delta II launch in just over 2.5 years, and we've been very focused on integrating the OCO2 spacecraft onto the Delta II.
The launch team is based at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, but they travel frequently to Vandenberg Air Force Base to make sure everything's on track. OCO2 has to launch from the California site in order to accomplish its mission.
The OCO2 mission requires a polar orbit. That's an orbit that would cross the north and south poles, covers a tremendous amount of area of the surface of the Earth. And the only way to achieve a polar orbit from U.S. soil is from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California.
Months before launch, the Delta II was transported from the manufacturing facility in Decatur, Alabama to Vandenberg, where the stages were stacked together at Space Launch Complex 2.
When everything's checked out, they start building the rocket on the pad, kind of like a Lego system. So you'll start with the first stage, and then the second stage, which will be the top part of the rocket. You attach the solid motors on the outside, which are the 3 white little motors that are attached to the base of the rocket, and then just check it out and make sure as a whole that it works.
The spacecraft was assembled by Orbital Sciences Corporation and tested at its facility in Gilbert, Arizona, then trucked to the launch site for final checkouts and functional tests. After the satellite is installed atop the rocket, it's enclosed in the fairing that will protect it during the first minutes of its climb to orbit. Once the countdown begins, the launch team will spend the night at their consoles monitoring the health of the Delta II rocket and the OCO2 spacecraft.
OCO2 is going to be launching just before 3 o'clock in the morning, so we will be arriving on console approximately 10 o'clock at night.
On launch day, it's really a joy to sit back and watch our NASA team work hand in hand with our contractor team from United Launch Alliance and also with our fellow government team from the United States Air Force at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and see this whole team pulling all of the components together that are required for the launch vehicle, the spacecraft, and the range, so that we're all ready for liftoff at T0.
After years of careful planning, the Orbiting Carbon Observatory 2 mission finally is about to begin.
This is the most exciting period of any project lifecycle. You're counting down the days ready to get for launch, and then hopefully, if everything goes successfully, you start seeing that data come back and all the work, which is many, many years of work, come to fruition. But if you look at the big scheme of where we are in understanding climate change, the impact of increasing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, this is really important.
So we're expecting it to give us a real breakthrough and a real step forward.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 43 minutes, 48 seconds and counting. Just moments ago, the Delta II first stage loading of liquid oxygen was completed. It took a total of 26 minutes and 10 seconds to load the first stage with liquid oxygen. And the team has just completed the cycling of the fill and drain valve of the first stage, which is routine after filling the first stage, and that is being repeated at this point. At T-minus 43 minutes, 10 seconds and counting, this is Delta Launch Control.
Fill and drain cycles complete.
Roger. Prop 2, deactivate record on change list, ENG_start.
Roger.
Prop 1, vehicle locks tank press to closed. Press closed. Prop 1, vehicle locks tank vent open. Open. Prop 2, cycle locks dump open. When below 99%, then closed.
Roger.
And begin cycling locks tank vent at 10-minute intervals. Roger. Prop 2, allow locks to boil off to 95%, and then maintain locks at 95% level.
Roger.
Prop 2, locks debris closed.
Closed.
Locks fine load open.
Open.
Prop 2, maintain locks line chill by opening locks debris for 5 seconds. Every 5 minutes.
Cycling.
Prop 2, cycle locks fill and drain valve every 30 minutes.
Roger.
Step 54. Prop 1, report engine section temperature. 65.3.
65.3.
Report lube line temp. 61.0.
61.0.
Launch conductor, LOX loading is complete.
Roger.
Proceeding with first stage and helium and N2 bottle decay checks.
ATC, CLC.
Go ahead.
Yeah, why don't we complete that on net 12? I'm going to need the net here in a minute.
Copy that. It's just prop 1 and prop 2, so we'll do that right next to each other.
Roger. You need a QAM?
We pass them a hard copy.
Roger.
T-minus 39 minutes.
MIFGO, verify all command areas clear for CRD turn on at T-minus 36 minutes. Verified. OSM, verify flight hazard area is clear.
Clear.
Send green go status to the MIFGO.
Roger.
Noted personnel, report ready to continue with countdown on channel 1. ATC 3,
Ready.
TM2,
Ready.
DST,
Ready.
FSC,
Ready.
TM1,
Ready.
GE. Ready. FMA.
Ready.
SCM,
Ready.
SSC,
Ready.
Clam 3,
Ready.
Inspector 6,
Ready.
RC,
Ready.
SYS.
Ready. LC, remove red tag from Ord Bus Enable.
Removed.
Ord Enable, red tag off.
Off.
TC, Ord Enable on.
On.
SSC, report second stage destruct SNA number 1 and number 2 safe.
Safe.
MIFGO, turn command carrier on with pilot tone on the standby transmitter and report complete.
Proceeding.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 37 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. Right now, the range safety systems on board the Delta II vehicle are being checked out. They're being verified so that we have complete control of the launch vehicle range safety systems in case anything should go amiss with the vehicle as it flies downrange, should it go off course. All these systems on the rocket are tested one final time before launch, and that is going on right now. T-minus 36 minutes, 54 seconds and counting. This is Delta Launch Control.
T-minus 36 minutes.
SSC, CRD 1 and 2 external power on.
On.
Verify ADS 1 and 2 safe.
Safe.
TM2, verify CRD self-test received and removed.
Received and removed.
SSC, report CRD battery voltages.
For Alpha, please record 32.0.
32.0.
Bravo, 32.1.
32.1.
TM2, report CRD AGC voltages.
For CRD1, record 4.7.
4.7.
CRD2, 4.8.
4.8.
TM2, report CRD EED ohms.
For CRD1, record 27.9.
27.9.
For CRD2, 27.7.
27.7.
TM2, obtain CRD external data trend.
Roger.
FAC, report guidance section temp.
72 degrees F. 72 degrees.
TM2, report CRD number 1 battery temp.
97.6.
97.6.
Report CRD number 2 battery temp.
98.5.
98.5.
MIFGO, report range ready for CRD checks.
Range ready.
T-minus 34 minutes.
TM2, verify CRD 1 and 2, pilot tone received.
Verified.
LC, Ord bus enable on.
On.
SSC, CRD 1 and 2, internal.
On internal.
MIFCO, send 1 second CRD self-test.
Roger. On my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. +1. Test removed.
TM2, report self-test complete.
Complete.
MIFCO, switch to master transmitter and report complete.
IFCO proceeding. System MIFCO, command carrier up on primary transmitter.
Copy. Send 1 second CRD self-test.
Roger. On my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. +1. Test removed.
TM2, report self-test complete.
Complete.
Obtain CRD internal data trend.
Roger.
SSC, report CRD battery voltages.
31.7, 2 places.
31.7, 2 places.
SSC, perform CRD external transfer.
Active. Complete.
Report command receiver checks complete and acceptable. LC.
Go.
FISBO.
FISBO go.
MIFCO.
Go.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 31 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. We're completing the range safety system checks now at the pad. Launch vehicle fully loaded with liquid oxygen. RP-1 loaded aboard earlier, and so the vehicle is fully fueled and ready for flight. After liftoff today, the 3 groundless solid rocket boosters will burn for 1 minute and 39 seconds, at which point they will be jettisoned about 30 seconds after burnout so that they will clear the coast. The main engine of the first stage on the Delta will cut off at 4 minutes 24 seconds into the flight, and that'll be followed almost right away by ignition of the second stage. The fairing surrounding the OCO-2 spacecraft will be jettisoned at 5 minutes and 1 second into the flight. The fairing will come off. The second stage will cut off at 10 minutes 20 seconds into the flight, and at that point, when the second stage cuts off for the first time, we will enter a coast phase that will last about 39 minutes and 30 seconds. There are 2 burns of the second stage engine, and after the first stage cuts off at 10 minutes 20 seconds into the flight, it will reignite 50 minutes and 50 seconds into the flight for a period of just over 1 minute and 2 seconds. After the second stage burns the second time and cuts off, then the vehicle will be setting up for separating the OCO-2 spacecraft, which occurs 56 minutes 15 seconds into the flight. About 3 minutes after the spacecraft separates from the second stage, the solar arrays will begin to deploy on OCO-2. At T-minus 29 minutes, 5 seconds and counting, this is Delta Launch Control.
T-minus 27 minutes.
FSC, verify e-package on.
On.
SSC, verify e-package on.
On.
GE, slew charge to 5 mil.
5 mil.
LC,
115.7%.
Coming over net 1.
LC, hydraulic enable on.
On.
FSC, HPU on.
On.
Following personnel report ready to continue with countdown on channel 1. SSP.
Ready.
ATC 2.
Ready.
VP.
Ready.
QAM 2.
Ready.
T-minus 26 minutes.
HYE, report second stage hydraulic return pressure.
64.2. 64.2.
TM2, activate record on change for jet response list as follows.
Activated.
FMA, in roof comms, set up for flight slews.
Roger.
SSC, hydraulic external power on.
On external.
Hydraulics internal.
On internal.
Timer, report second stage hydraulic pump turn on time.
9:00:49.
090049.
TM2, report second stage slews is received.
Roger.
TM1, report first stage slews is received.
Roger.
Timer, monitor second stage pump run time.
Roger.
FSC, slew limits on.
On.
SSC, slew limits on.
On.
FMA, on your mark, PD2 on.
3, 2, 1, mark. Beginning coast slews, jets 1 and 4, 3 and 6, 1 and 6, 3 and 4, jet 2, and jet 5. Second stage engine is pitching up. Second movement to the stop. Returning to center. Center. Pitching down. Second movement to the stop.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 23 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. We're into the steering checks once again, beginning first with the second stage and then moving down to the first stage. And we should, as we did yesterday, see the first stage engine begin to move around its gimbal point as the steering checks for the first stage are completed. At T-minus 23 minutes, 30 seconds and counting, this is Delta Launch Control.
Second movement to the stop. Returning to center and center. Second stage powered slews are complete.
Beginning first stage slews, V1 pitch down, V2 pitch up. Second motion to the stop.
Hydraulics off.
Returning to center. Center. V1 pitch up, V2 pitch down. Second motion to the stop. Returning to center. Center. V1 and 2 pitch up. Second motion to the stop. Returning to center. Center. V1 and 2 pitch down. Second motion to the stop. Returning to center. Center. You want to yawing right? Second motion to the stop. Return to null. Null. You want to pitch down? Going right. Second motion to the stop. Returning to null. No. V1 pitch down, V2 pitch up. Second motion to the stop. Return in the center. Center. V1 pitch up, V2 pitch down. Second motion to the stop. Return in the center. Center. Main engine pitching up. Second motion to the stop. Return in the center. Center. Main engine pitching down. Second motion to the stop. Return in the center. Center. Main engine going right. Second motion to the stop. Return in the center. Center. Main engine going left. Second motion to the stop. Return in the center. Center. First stage sluice complete.
P2 off.
FSC, slew limits off.
Off.
Timer, report second stage hydraulic pump turn off time.
090326.
090326.
HYE, report second stage bleed down time.
14.7.
14.7.
TM2, deactivate record on change.
Deactivated.
GE, slew charts to 1 mil.
1 mil.
SYS, disable alarms and average limits for data link checks.
Disabled.
And SYS, perform data link checks and report complete.
Roger.
And after completion of data link checks, enable alarms and average limits.
Roger. DST at the A50 panel, establish TFE number 1 PCM switch to the NASA position.
1 to NASA.
And TFE number 2 PCM switch to the NASA position.
TFE 2 to NASA.
I can verify DCOM lock on streams 2 and 3 of TFE 1 and 2. SCM verify data quality acceptable.
Acceptable.
DST at the A50 panel, establish TFE number 1 PCM switch to the umbilical position.
TFE 1 to umbilical.
And establish TFE number 2 PCM switch to the umbilical position.
2 to umbilical.
You can verify DCOM lock on streams 2 and 3 on TFE 1 and 2. DST on the TMS patch panel A49. Move patch first stage PCM J54 to first stage PCM from NASA J58.
That's complete.
LC, data links complete.
Roger.
LC ATC 21.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 16 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. We're preparing to go into a planned built-in hold at T-minus 15 minutes. This will be a 20-minute hold to allow for any catch-up that needs to be done or troubleshooting, but at this point there is nothing of note going on. This will be a fairly standard built-in hold. No issues being worked at the countdown, and we're still targeting an on-time launch. At T-minus 16 minutes and counting, this is Delta Launch Control.
3 pumps online.
Verified.
Report water system manifold pressure.
172.
172.
This is Delta Launch Control, standing by now to go into this 20-minute hold at T-minus 15 minutes in 3, 2, 1. T-minus 15 minutes and holding.
This is a 20-minute built-in hold. Timer verified the countdown clock is holding. Holding.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 15 minutes and holding. We're in a planned 20-minute built-in hold at this point. All the communications channels here in the Launch Control Center are very quiet. There's really nothing of note going on. It's really been a fairly standard textbook countdown up to this point. The Delta II rocket, as we see it on the pad there, weighs approximately 300,000 pounds, along with the OCO-2 spacecraft. Satellite atop the rocket weighs 992 pounds, fully fueled. And it's enclosed in a 10-foot fairing. The spacecraft itself is about 6.5 feet tall and 3.5 feet wide. Again, a 30-second launch window today that opens at precisely 2:56:23 a.m. Pacific Time, closing at 2:56:53. One of the key things that we'll be watching for is the performance of the second stage, because we will be seeing that through the Heart of Beastock tracking station, and that will also be confirming spacecraft separation. We hope to have some video of the spacecraft separating, but the camera on the second stage will actually, because of the mission requirements, be pointing right into the sun at that point. So while we may see the spacecraft separation, the picture could be a little washed out from being pointed into the sun, but we should be able to confirm that event along with the data we'll be getting back from Heart of Beastock. That's a South African National Space Agency ground station that provides tracking support for a lot of international launch service providers. It's got a rather significant network of tracking antennas that range in size from 30 to 44 feet and has a lot of capability depending on what the spacecraft requires for both S-band, KU band, and KA band, and even radar C-band. So Heart of Beastock can meet most ground station tracking requirements, and NASA has taken advantage of that many times in the past, including tonight. And then after we get about halfway around the world on the orbit after spacecraft separation, we'll acquire the spacecraft through the Alaska Satellite Facility, which is one of the near-Earth network stations, with its 36-foot tracking antenna, which is located near Fairbanks, Alaska. At T-minus 15 minutes in holding, this is Delta Launch Control. This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 15 minutes and holding. We've got just under 10 minutes from when we resume the countdown, taking it down to T-minus 4 minutes. At which point we'll enter another planned built-in hold to go through our final checks. That'll be a 10-minute built-in hold at T-minus 4. Next thing coming up in our countdown in about 5 minutes is going to be a final weather briefing from our launch weather officer, Lieutenant Joseph Round from 30th Space Wing here at Vandenberg. Weather has been very calm, very light wind, as we can see the vapors coming from off the rocket really just kind of cling around the local pad area and really aren't dispersed much. So it's a very calm night with maybe slightly visibility than we had last night. Just under 9 minutes remaining in the hold. We're at T-minus 15 minutes and holding. This is Delta Launch Control.
TLC on Net 1 for an update. Currently, we're complete with all steps before the L-30 weather briefing. We're tracking no issues.
Contract Net 1.
Good com on 1.
L-30 minutes.
RC, conduct weather briefing on
Attention on the
Channel
weather
8.
conference net. Stand by for weather briefing. All stations acknowledge. LO.
LO.
Senior MEFCO.
Senior MEFCO.
Delta RC.
Delta RC.
LD.
LD.
NLM.
NLM.
OD.
OD.
LDA.
LDA.
L will provide current and predicted T0 status for safety and launch agency constraints with probabilities of violation.
This is the LO. This briefing will be displayed on CCTV channels 7 and 8. Beginning with channel 7. On satellite, we can still see the marine layer over the region and nothing significant above. For radar, there's no significant turns, some ground clutter. And for wind data, we've been up and down. We're probably around 8 knots from, again, a 340 radial. So turning to channel 8. There are no watches, warnings, or advisories issued at this time. We are currently green for all range safety LCCs, 0% POV at T-0, as well as a 0% POV for a 24-hour scrub. For launch agency constraints, we are green for all constraints with a 0% POV for T-0, and for the 24-hour scrub forecast, and proton levels are at standard background. The exposure forecast, we have about 1 to 2 miles in fog out at the pad, 300-foot ceilings, and winds are light knots from the. And for the launch forecast, again, looking at 1 to 2 statute miles, winds will creep down to 4 to 7 knots, no constraints expected. Launch agency for LCC, and therefore we have a 0% probability of violation with no constraints of concern. And for the 24-hour scrub, again, as previously briefed, just a little bit lower visibilities with the marine layer squashing down half mile to 1.5 mile at the pad, and then winds picking up to about 8 to 12 knots from direction, but 0% probability of violation with no constraints of concern. Conclude my briefing.
Senior MEFCO, proceed with latest toxics and debris assessment.
Senior MEFCO, the runs for both toxics and debris have been complete. They're all green. Remain so for launch.
LO and Senior MEFCO indicate clear to proceed. All station report questions or acknowledge. LO.
LO.
Senior MEFCO.
Senior MEFCO.
Delta RC.
Delta RC.
LD.
LD.
NLM.
NLM.
OD.
OD.
LDA.
LDA.
Weather conference net clear.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 15 minutes and holding. We have less than 90 seconds remaining in this built-in hold. Once we come out of the hold, we will be going down to the T-minus 4 minute mark, where we will then be holding for 10 minutes. Another planned built-in hold.
L-minus 26 minutes.
Launch conductor, this is LD. Resume the count at the end of the built-in hold.
And we have clearance to pick up the countdown at the end of the built-in hold. "30 seconds from picking up the count. Picking up in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. T-minus 15 minutes and counting.
SSP, top off second stage helium and nitrogen system pressures prior to the end of the last built-in hold.
Roger.
Report second stage oxidizer tank pressure.
177.8.
177.8.
Report second stage fuel tank pressure.
138.2.
138.2.
Report second stage helium and N2 pressurization normal.
Normal.
Verify second stage helium regulator lockup pressure, go.
Go.
Verify second stage nitrogen regulator lockup pressure, go.
Go.
HYE, verify first and second stage hydraulics, go.
Go.
SYS, verify RF link checks are complete.
Complete.
LC, countdown limit conditions, T-minus 15 minutes on.
On.
GE, perform T-minus 4 and T-minus 60 limit checks on the backup TFE. Report complete on channel 4.
Roger.
LCFMA.
OFMA.
Primary wind load relief file with checksum 225 Charlie has been received and verified. Ready to load into RIFCA.
Proceed with relief file load and report when complete.
Roger.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 10 minutes and counting. Proceeding down to a final built-in hold at T-minus 4 minutes, a 10-minute built-in hold.
Prop 1, verify engine regulator go.
Go.
Report engine section temp.
68.2.
68.2.
Report lube line temp.
64.4.
64.4.
Verify booster helium and nitrogen pressures within limits prior to the end of the built-in hold.
Roger.
Establish vehicle fuel tank vent closed.
Closed.
Vehicle fuel tank press open. Pressurized tank to 24 to 30 psig. Then vehicle fuel tank press closed.
Pressurizing.
Right now, upper level wind data being loaded onto the second stage flight computer. This is data from the wind balloons that have been released over the course of the countdown with final parameters that the second stage guidance system will use for steering the rocket through the atmosphere.
T-minus 8 minutes.
Prop 2, PSD purge press open.
Open.
Verify LOX umbilical purge closed.
Closed.
PEA, verify FABU and engine heaters go.
Go.
Verify overflow line temp rise is less than 12 degrees.
Active.
Verified.
Copy.
T-minus 7 minutes.
Prop 1, report LOX relief plenum pressure.
8.7.
8.7.
Report LOX relief plenum temperature.
65.5.
65.5.
Prop 2, verify VE LOX bleeds and LOX start tank venting.
Verified.
Top LOX to 100% and verify 100% LOX float switch operation 1 time.
Roger.
T-minus 6 minutes.
LO, verify area weather conditions go for launch.
Go.
100% float level verified.
T minus 5 minutes.
ATC-3, launch enable on.
On.
FAC, launch enable on.
On.
Prop 1, launch enable on.
On.
SSP, launch enable on.
On.
ATC-3, report the amp hours remaining for the following.
1.340, 2 places.
1.340, 2 places.
TM1, ORD latch set.
Set.
TM2, ORD latch set.
Set.
Timer at T minus 4 minutes. Verify the countdown clock is holding.
Roger.
This is Delta Launch Control, preparing now to go into the final built-in hold in about 10 seconds. This is a 10-minute hold. 3, 2, 1, T minus 4 minutes and holding for 10 minutes.
SSP, vent.
OCO2 spacecraft has just completed its final pull to be ready to go into internal power and pick up the countdown when we come out of this hold.
LC, T minus 4 minute limits on.
On.
We've had
minus 13.
blues. We've got good upper level wind data. We've got acceptable weather, clean range. Our spacecraft's healthy, and we've got a great rocket. So I'd like to now conduct the final launch readiness poll. Please respond go, no go. NASA CE.
NASA CE, go.
SMA.
SMA is go.
SMD.
SMD is go.
NASA MIM.
NASA MIM is go.
NAM.
NAM's ready.
NLM copies. The NASA launch team is ready for the launch of OCO2.
Fill and drain cycles complete.
Copy. Cancel display and deactivate record on change list. Engine _ start.
Roger.
This is Delta Launch Control, T minus 4 minutes and holding. Approximately 7.5 minutes remaining in this built-in hold. We've just had a final cycling of the liquid oxygen fill and drain valve on the first stage. That was cycled 3 times. And at this point, the Delta II continues to be in readiness. We haven't worked any issues. It's been very quiet on all of the communications channels here in the Launch Control Center. The OCO2 spacecraft is in a final state of readiness. And we just had a report from the OCO2 spacecraft mission director that the OCO2 is now on internal power and is configured for launch. At T minus 4 minutes and holding, this is Delta Launch Control.
L minus 9 minutes. LC, primary wind load relief file has been loaded into RIFCA and verified. Internal checksum 225 Charlie.
225 Charlie, roger.
225 Charlie.
If a condition that exceeds a launch constraint any time after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
This is Delta Launch Control. Once we have liftoff this morning, we'll be hearing our telemetry engineer Steve Agate calling the flight events as the Delta II lifts off and then proceeds on into orbit. And we should hear all of the functions of the Delta II as it goes through the first stage and second stage burns as well as spacecraft separation. We're about 3 minutes and 50 seconds away from picking up the count.
Launch. Maintain operational silence in the RLCC. L minus 7 minutes.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Report go, no go. Talker.
Go.
FSC.
Go.
Prop 1.
Go.
Prop 2.
Go.
PEA.
Go.
EEA.
Go.
VP.
Go.
SCM.
Go.
SYS.
Go.
FAC.
Go.
ATC 3.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
HYE.
Go.
FMA.
Go.
SSC.
Go.
SSP.
Go.
TM1.
Go.
TM2.
Go.
VE.
Go.
ATC 2.
Go.
VSE.
Go.
OSM.
Go.
FACA.
Go.
GE.
Go.
RC.
Clear to proceed.
NASA TM.
Go.
USO.
Go.
AC.
AC is go.
Launch Director.
LC, this is LD. You have permission to launch.
Roger. Proceeding with the count. Noted personnel switch to channel 15 after liftoff is confirmed for pad securing.
SYS, establish launch sequence and engine start, record on change list, activated.
Activated.
FAC, verify booster engine section GN2 press is 1200 PSIG minimum.
Verified.
Secure EEB HVAC units, ACU1 and ACU2.
Roger.
Verify manifold press is 160 to 185 PSIG.
Verified.
L minus 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
NSC reports spacecraft is configured for launch.
Roger. LC, this is NSC. OCO2 is configured for launch.
Roger.
L minus 5 minutes.
LC, establish countdown limit conditions, T minus 4 minute on.
On.
All personnel stand by for release of the hold.
All steps prior to terminal count are complete.
We'll be picking up the count here in 20 seconds. Picking up the count in 10 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
Minutes and counting.
FAC, pad water system enable.
Enable.
GN2 purge on.
On.
SSC, transfer vehicle electronics internal.
Active.
First stage internal.
Second stage internal. Internal.
FAC, divert AC flows.
Roger.
Prop 1, vent helium umbilical as follows.
Roger.
T-minus 3 minutes. 3 minutes to launch.
Press open.
Open.
Fuel umbilical purge open.
Open.
SSC, armed vehicle ordnance systems.
Active. SNA's armed.
First stage armed.
Second stage armed. Armed.
FSC, BAT 1 heater control exit.
Exit.
BAT 2 heater control exit.
Exit.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
SSC, FTS, BAT 1 and 2 heaters off.
Off.
Prop 1, pressurized vehicle LOX tank.
Pressurizing.
FAC, establish pulse suppression water on.
Roger.
T-minus 95 seconds. T-minus 90 seconds.
SSC, hydraulic external power on.
External.
HYE, check hydraulic pressure, go.
Go.
T-minus 80 seconds.
Stopping 100%.
T-minus 70 seconds.
SSC, hydraulics internal.
Internal.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Range status.
Rock, range is green.
LC, T-minus 60-second limits on.
On.
Water flow.
T-minus 45.
LC, launch enable to flight.
Flight.
ATC 3.
100% LOX.
Main power disable on.
On.
T-minus 35.
Hydraulics are go.
T-minus 30.
Status check.
Go Delta 2 and go OCO 2.
T-minus 20.
T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. Green board. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Engine start. 1, 0 at liftoff of the Delta II rocket with OCO 2. Tracking a greenhouse gas in seek of clues to climate change.
Good chamber pressure in both verniers. Good chamber pressure in the 3 solids. Good symmetrical burn. 22 seconds in. Still looking good. Altitude coming up on 1 mile. Range distance 7.3 nautical miles. Velocity 959 miles per hour. Past Mach 1. 50 seconds in, maximum dynamic pressure. Standing by for the solids, dropping in chamber pressure. And we have burnout of the 3 solids. We'll be holding on to those solids for about 40 seconds to assure a safe water impact point. 1 minute, 7 seconds into the flight. Altitude now 7.2 nautical miles. Downrange distance 10 nautical miles. Velocity 991 miles per hour. 1 minute, 17 seconds in. About 15 seconds now until we expect those 3 solid boosters to separate from the vehicle as we're approaching the 1 minute, 30 second mark. And we have separation. 3 solids have separated from the vehicle. 1 minute, 50 seconds in. Altitude now 17 nautical miles, downrange distance 4.5 nautical miles, velocity 1,462 miles per hour. Passing the 2 minute, 5 second mark. Chamber pressure is holding very well in the main engine and in both verniers. Engine control is good in the main engine and in both verniers. Now approaching 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Two minutes, 25 seconds. Chamber pressure is holding in the main engine and the verniers. Still looking good. Mission events occurring very close to their anticipated time. Mark, 2 minutes, 41 seconds. The vehicle now passing through Mach 5. Two minutes, 50 seconds in. Chamber pressure continues to look good. Main engine control and vernier control is good. Coming up on the 3 minute mark. Mark, 3 minutes into the flight. Looking at our mission events have occurred very close to their anticipated times. About 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in first stage flight. Three minutes, 20 seconds in. Altitude now 35 nautical miles. Downrange distance 54.7 nautical miles. Velocity 5,077 miles per hour. Passing 3 minutes, 34 seconds. Vehicle now going Mach 10, 10 times the speed of sound. Less than 1 minute remains now in main engine flight. Three minutes, 50 seconds in. Altitude 42.7 nautical miles. Downrange distance 94.9 nautical miles. Velocity 7,384 miles per hour. Passing the 4 minute mark. Expect main engine cut off about 20 seconds from now. Standing by. And we have main engine cutoff, standing by for vernier cutoff. And we have VECO, the vernier cutoff, standing by for stage separation. And we have 1-2 SEP, standing by for ignition, and we have ignition on the second stage. Second stage chamber pressure is beginning to rise. Good chamber pressure on the second stage. Standing by for fairing jettison. And we have fairing jettison. Good fairing jettison now at 5 minutes, 5 seconds into the flight. Altitude now 71.8 nautical miles. Downrange distance 269.1 nautical miles. Velocity 10,671 miles per hour. Now passing 5 minutes, 28 seconds in, still looking good. Chamber pressure good on the second stage. Very good engine control in the second stage. Five minutes, 41 seconds in. Altitude 82.7 nautical miles. Downrange distance 360 nautical miles. Our velocity 11,127 miles per hour. Now passing 5 minutes, 55 seconds into the flight, still looking good. Chamber pressure holding very well in the second stage. Good engine control in the second stage, in pitch and yaw. 6 minutes, 6 seconds in. This first burn of the second stage is scheduled to last about 5 minutes and 43 seconds. Still looking good. About 4 minutes remaining in this first burn of the second stage. Taking a look at our flight events. Flight events occurred very, very close to our expected times. Now passing 6 minutes, 50 seconds in. Our altitude now is 95.6 nautical miles. Downrange distance 542 nautical miles. Velocity 12,122 miles per hour. Passing 7 minutes in. About 3 minutes, 15 seconds now remaining in this first burn of this evening.
Transitioning now to data through TDRS West. We're on the tracking and data relay satellite, TDRS West.
Command receiver decoders have been commanded off, and we are in the TDRS mode. 7 minutes, 45 seconds in. Chamber pressure continues to hold on the second stage. Good engine control. Eight minutes into the flight. Altitude now passing 101 nautical miles. Downrange distance 745 nautical miles. Velocity 13,408 miles per hour. Passing 8 minutes, 21 seconds. About 2 minutes remain on this first burn. Eight minutes, 45 seconds in. Still looking good. Chamber pressure holding very well. Good engine control. Coming up on the 9-minute mark. 9 minutes into the flight. Altitude now 101.5 nautical miles. Downrange distance 942 nautical miles. Velocity 14,851 miles per hour. Nine minutes, 21 seconds in, 1 minute remaining on this first burn. Engine control continues to look good. Chamber pressure holding. .30 seconds now remaining in this first burn. Approaching 10 minutes in. 10 minutes into the flight. Altitude 100.4 nautical miles. Downrange distance 1,166 nautical miles. Velocity 16,555 miles per hour. Standing by for OCO 1. Standing by. And we have OCO. Hydraulic pump off. Ten minutes, 40 seconds in. The next burn of the second stage will occur about 40 minutes from now. That will be a very short burn. SECO time's very close to the anticipated time. Now at 11 minutes, 15 seconds in, our altitude 100.1 nautical miles, downrange distance 1,460 nautical miles, velocity 17,008 miles per hour. And this is Delta Flight commentary at 12 minutes, 15 seconds into the flight, where altitude is 100.9 nautical miles, downrange distance 1,701 nautical miles, velocity 17,004 miles per hour. Just took a look at our SECO-1 orbital readouts, apogee, perigee, and inclination extremely close to what we had originally predicted. Very good performance as of this point. 12 minutes, 40 seconds in. About 38 minutes now remain until the second burn of the second stage.
This is Delta Launch Control. We're now 13 minutes, 10 seconds into the flight of the Delta II rocket with OCO2. As we've heard our flight telemetry engineer Steve Agad call, all of the vehicle events up to this point have been completely nominal. At 50 minutes and 50 seconds into the flight, we will have a restart of the second stage, and it's a very short burn, only about a minute and 2 seconds, but that will be the final burn necessary to put OCO2 into the correct orbit. And just prior to that burn, the second stage will be orienting very close to the spacecraft separation attitude. And at the time the spacecraft separates, it will be, as we said, pointing almost directly into the sun. So while we do expect to have some video coming to us from the Heart of Eastock tracking station to South Africa of the spacecraft separation, it may be a little noisy or washed out because it is pointing into the sun, and that's the mission requirement. The spacecraft does need to point directly into the sun as part of the flight profile. So at this point, we're going to suspend our launch coverage, our launch commentary, until we get within about 5 minutes of coming back for the restart of the second stage burn and see the second stage reorienting itself, repositioning to get ready for that very short and brief burn. At T-minus 15 minutes, T plus 15 minutes into the flight of the Delta II, this is Delta Launch Control.
60 seconds.
3 minutes LOX flow. Four minutes LOX flow.
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 9 minutes and counting. Our LOX loading activities, liquid oxygen, now being loaded aboard the Delta first stage. All of our activities progressing on schedule. And we're joined now here at the Launch Control Center by Tim Dunn, who is our NASA launch manager for the countdown this morning. And we wanted to ask Tim to come over and just kind of recap for us a little bit the activities that have been going on since our scrub yesterday, some of the turnaround activities that we've done to get back into a launch posture for tonight. So, Tim, if you could kind of lead us through, since we left you yesterday when we last talked, what things we've done to analyze our position and then pick up for tonight.
Thank you, George. So yesterday we obviously were sitting here discussing the results of our called, hold, and scrub within the last minute. So that was an unfortunate event, and the team has done a tremendous amount of work in the past day to get us back into another countdown, executing a 24-hour recycle. So what we were able to do was ULA and LSP engineering teams were able to go back out onto the pad once we had things safed, and we found that our reason for our hold was a faulty water valve at Slick 2, and it was unfortunate. It's a system, a water system that provides the pulse suppression water. It dampens out any acoustic energy from the ignition event to protect both the pad and the launch vehicle as it leaves the pad. So obviously we can't launch without that system, but we were able to isolate it to a faulty valve, and we had exercised that valve. Recently we had done a full functional on it just about a month ago. We had done a functional on that valve itself just the day before launch. So we felt very confident going into countdown, but
This is Delta Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 20 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Momentarily, we'll hear our United Launch Alliance test conductor, Ward Johansson, polling the United Launch Alliance team.
Predicted local area temperature range at liftoff.
This CRC record 52 to 57 degrees.
52 to 57.
OSM report when roadblock is established and flight hazard area is secured.
Roger, roadblock is established and flight hazard and cautionary are secured.
Roger.
HYE, report hydraulics, accumulator, GN2 pressure, go.
Go.
Prop 1, report engine section temp.
7-2.
7-2.
Report lube line temp.
7-3.
7-3. USO, report go for cryogenic tanking.
Go.
Launch Director, report go for cryogenic tanking.
This is LD. We are go for cryogenic tanking.
Roger. ATC-1, begin preparations for first stage LOX loading.
Roger.
FAC, initiate booster, engine section, high-speed fan, and report when heat is on.
Roger.
Prop 2, verify vehicle actuation. Pre-press press is open.
Open.
Prop 1, monitor engine reg pressure during LOX loading. Roger. Prop 2, verify PSD purge system as follows. PSD purge press open.
Open.
Verify PSD purge pressure is 400 plus or minus 25 psig.
Verified.
PSD purge press closed.
Closed.
Line vent open.
Open.
Verify PSD purge pressure vented.
Verified.
Line vent closed.
Closed.
Prop 2, verify the following LOX valve positions. Storage tank press closed.
Closed.
Storage tank vent open.
Open.
Fine load closed.
Closed.
Rapid load closed.
Closed.
Debris open.
Open.
Vehicle fill and drain closed.
Closed.
Dump closed.
Closed.
Umbilical purge closed.
Closed.
DLC for an update. We're complete with all steps through page 003-82. Working no issues.
ATC, you have heat in the boat tail.
Roger. Thank you.
So it's one of those things where one of our former shuttle launch directors used to say that the hardware just chose this particular time to go faulty on us.
Yes.
Right.
Unfortunate, but the teams really responded and reacted well. This morning, now would be yesterday morning. We're already into Wednesday now on the California coast. So we after we did that, we obviously want to check that system prior to committing to another launch count down. And we did a full functional water flow multiple times yesterday afternoon at Slick 2, verified the full operation of that system. We were able to then fully commit to this countdown that we're now in the middle of. So just to give you an update, obviously you've told the folks that we're in the middle of LOX loading. We've also received weather briefing from the range. We have beautiful weather for launch, a little bit of ground fog, so there's going to be some limited visibility at ground level, but we should see the vehicle once it clears the low-level marine layer of fog. And so we are not violating any weather constraints. For collision avoidance, for our COLA reports, we had a clean COLA run, so our entire 30-second window is available to us, and we're going to target the first second of that window like we did in yesterday's attempt. So right now we've got a great range, no range instrumentation issues that we're tracking. Spacecraft is healthy, ready to go. The launch vehicle is performing magnificently, and so we are in great shape for today's attempt.
All right, Tim. Well, thank you very much, and I guess we'll be talking again after we have spacecraft separation. We'll hear how the flight actually went, but it's good to know that we are back in position and ready to fly tonight. So thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And we're going to look now at a video of what it's taken to get the Delta II and the OCO-2 spacecraft ready for launch.
Here at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, NASA is preparing to launch a spacecraft to study the Earth's atmosphere and better understand how climate change affects everyone on the planet. The Orbiting Carbon Observatory, or OCO-2, will be NASA's first dedicated Earth remote sensing satellite to collect space-based global measurements of atmospheric carbon dioxide. It will have the precision, resolution, and coverage needed to better understand the environment on a global basis. The mission to study the atmosphere began to take shape in an Orbital Sciences Corporation facility in Gilbert, Arizona. The company built, integrated, and tested the OCO-2 spacecraft under a contract from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. After a 560-mile trip from Orbital's facility in Arizona, the satellite arrived at Vandenberg on April 30th. It then was transported to the Astrotech Payload Processing Facility. Inside the clean room, technicians and engineers began uncrating the OCO-2 spacecraft. The 985-pound satellite then was placed on a test fixture to begin weeks of intense pre-launch checkouts to ensure all of its complex systems are working properly. During December of last year, a convoy of trucks began delivering the solid rocket motors to Vandenberg for the United Launch Alliance Delta II rocket that will boost the satellite to orbit. In late March, the Delta's first stage booster arrived at NASA Hangar 836. On March 28th, the Delta II first stage booster was transported to Space Launch Complex 2 and raised to the vertical position and hoisted into the mobile service tower. 2 weeks later, the 3 solid rocket motors were attached to the first stage of the booster. The Delta II second stage then was towed to the base of the mobile service tower at Space Launch Complex 2 on April 15th. The instruments and systems on OCO-2 were thoroughly tested at Astrotech's Vandenberg facility, including the all-important solar arrays. While orbiting the Earth, the arrays will capture the sun's energy and generate 813 watts of power for the spacecraft system.
Minus 75 minutes.
ATC-1, begin LOX loading.
Roger. We'll observe the following note. And Prop 1, vehicle LOX tank vent open. Open. Timer, time LOX flow from fine load valve open to 100% LOX.
Roger.
And announce time at 1 minute intervals.
Roger.
We'll observe the 2 cautions and the note. Top of page 85, Prop 2. Vehicle LOX fill and drain open. Open. Prop 2, LOX debris open. Open. LOX storage tank vent closed. Closed. Lock storage tank press open, and when storage tank pressure increases to 50 plus or minus 5, locks fine load open.
Roger.
Box fine load open. 2, 1, mark.
Locks rapid load open.
Open.
Timer report time when fine load was open.
08-12-38.
08-12-38.
Prop 1, engine heaters on. On. Prop 1, enable LOX relief valve plenum heater only if plenum pressure approaches 7.4. Roger. PEA, monitor and observe FABO heater cycles.
Roger.
Observe the caution. Prop 1, FABO heater on. On. Prop 2, LOX load timer enable to on.
On.
Prop 1, monitor vehicle LOX tank pressure. Roger. Prop 1, monitor vehicle LOX tank vent, LOX start tank vent, and VE bleed ports for GOX.
1 minute LOX flow.
Roger. Prop 2, report actuation of low-level float switch.
Roger.
And report LOX pump inlet temp decreasing.
Decreasing.
Prop 1, verify LOX pump inlet temp functions and cryogenic temperatures.
A low-level float switch is actuated. And temp looks good.
Copy. LC, position TV camera to monitor the LOX transfer system during LOX transfer operations.
Roger. I think we have them set up the way you like. If you need any adjustments, let us know.
Copy that, LC, and yeah, the scanning of the transfer line looks good.